So I'm on my way home. I have my phone propped up, so I'm safe. And so I just want to kind of debrief a little bit about my book. So I recently wrote a book. My first book was Love Stories in the Words of Poetry. And so that was a combination of poems that I've written over years and years and years and years of different experiences and just different stuff. So those of you who read my first book, Love Stories in the Words of Poetry, you pretty much was able to read real-time experiences and feelings. So in those moments where I was most of the time probably sad or feeling some type of way about something, I wrote my feelings down in poetry. And whether it was, some of those poems was written 4 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. It might have been written, as soon as I woke up or whatever. And so you all were able to read some firsthand, real-time emotions, right? And so this second book, though, that I recently published, which is called All of Us, which is part 1. It's just part 1. It is a novella. So it's a small novel. So if you have not gotten that book yet, please support. It is not much to read for all of those who don't like a lot of reading. Contrary to me being a English teacher, I don't like reading. So that's my little secret there as an English teacher. But I understand not wanting to do a lot of reading because I'm not a big fan of reading either. But this book is small, it's short, and it's just a part of a series that I have started. I've been working on this little novella for years, and I kind of battle with it, with putting it out or with sharing it with anybody other than my circle, because it's very personal to me. And so I wanted to just kind of share a response to a lot of questions that I received. So, or a question that I received from a lot of people. Let me put it that way. So, when I wrote this book, when I first started this book, I started writing with just the goal of just kind of releasing some stuff. And so the question I've been getting lately is, everybody asks, oh, well, what book? Well, mainly my professor. My professor asked me, because he saw it and he decided to purchase it. And so I was honored, by the way, because I love my professor, super cool. Shout out to Dr. McNeil. But he asked me a question and he said, well, what is it? Why did you write it? What you write it for? I mean, not like that, but basically asked me my purpose of writing it. And it kind of stopped me there, because I'm like, well, nobody has asked that yet. But then I started receiving that question and I'm like, I gotta get an answer for that. Why did I write it? And going through some of the things that I've been through, there was major situations when it came to in my life where I felt like that vindication was needed. Like I needed to be vindicated. Like I felt like that, how sometimes you just feel like your side of the story hasn't been heard. Like no one was able to get your side of the story, and then this image was painted that you didn't like about yourself, right? And so I always prided myself on having a good reputation. For the most part, my grandma always instilled in me, she always told me, the main thing she told me is, all you have is your name. And she used to say, once your name is destroyed, it's hard to come back. And I believe that to be true. And so a lot of my decisions growing up, even down to the biggest decision, losing my virginity, I waited until I felt like it was something real, because I didn't want my name to be out there to the world as if I was something, else. So a lot of my decisions I made based on trying to keep an image of myself to the public eye. And I don't think anything's wrong with that. But when I was going through my marriage, or my divorce rather, there was a lot of things that was put out there or said, and I felt like I couldn't share my side of the story. I couldn't reach, or I couldn't get out my point of view, and that I couldn't be, even though the goal isn't to be no victim in a situation, right? But you also don't want to be the villain either. And so I feel like I didn't like the narrative, right? And so I battled with that mentally and spiritually. I battled with that word vindication. And so when I sit back and I really think about the things that I was writing about, and if you read my stories, they're not just stories of my marriage, they're stories of all the relationships I've encountered, and it's what you call it autofiction. So I want to make it clear also that everything in that book is not verbatim. It did not happen exactly like that. It did not go exactly in that way. If you look up the definition of what an autofiction is, you will better understand how this book is. So it does have real stories, but I have chopped and screwed them. I chopped and screwed them. I mixed them up a little bit. I mixed the characters up a little bit. And that's just because I'm not trying to bash anybody, and I'm not trying to uplift anybody. Like, no relationship I had was so much better than another one or whatever. But my truth is my truth. And I feel like I wrote this to get out a lot of feelings and a lot of stories and a lot of things that has happened without the extra judgment, or without I don't know, just to get it off of my heart. And so I was really nervous about even sharing it, and I have so many more stories. And if you follow along in my journey of this series that I'm doing, you're gonna see so much more of me, so much more of my story, so much more of the things that have happened to me, the experiences that I've had, and mainly as it relates to a relationship, or a man, or love, unrequited love. And so you're gonna see so much of that in my stories if you follow me and you follow those characters in the story. And so I want to say too that a lot of what I've experienced is not too far-fetched from what a lot of other people experience also. But I also wanted to share light on, if you read my story and you kind of get down to the root of all of it, it does a deep dive on the mental health aspect of transitioning through relationships. We have so many different relationships with people, whether it's friendships, whether it's baby daddy, baby mama relationships, whether it's husband wife relationships, whether it's a side piece relationship, whether it's whatever. But for women, for me, I think sometimes we don't give credit to the mental health journey that it takes us through. And it's taken me through so many mental health challenges, to say the least. It's taken me through, just trying to love somebody and be in love, and have somebody to love you back, trying to maintain a relationship, try to understand the perspective of another person that says they love you, or trying to understand where you fit into somebody's life when you made them so big in your life. It's so much mental stuff that goes into all of that stuff that is so complicated, and it's like people say things like, oh, you just move on, or but it's so hard to navigate the when to move on, the people to drop off, the people to let enter. People say, oh, watch out for the red flags. Sometimes you don't know the red flags. Sometimes it's hard to see things clearly when you're in the middle of it. And I've learned that over the years, now that I'm at my big grown age, I'm at 32 years old. Thank God I see things differently from how I saw them at 21. But when you're in the middle of a situation, it's almost like being up close to something so close to you. It's hard to understand. It's hard to really see it because it's too close. And that's how it is sometimes in a relationship. Everybody around you can see what you got going on in your relationship, but you can't. And then on the flip side, everybody around you sometimes can't see anything that you see on the inside. Sometimes you see stuff firsthand that you can't really explain, that you can't really put into words and say, this is why I'm still here, or this is why I love that man, or it may be toxic but it's still love. And it's like sometimes you don't feel like you have a voice. And so I said all that to say I've been through so much stuff, and I feel like my biggest grief, my biggest heartache, my biggest pain, my biggest hurt, I've lost so many people. When it comes to I've lost people. I've been losing since I was born. You know what I'm saying? 3 days old, I lost my mom. I didn't experience that because I had my grandparents. I didn't feel no way from it. I lost my grandma. That was my mama. I lost my granddaddy. That was my daddy. And I love them. I love them. I love them. You know what I mean? And that was a loss. That was a big loss for me. I lost a friend, as far as, I've took some L's, and a lot of my friends, a lot of my people say, you got a good heart, you're too soft, you're a little naive, all of this stuff I've heard, but I've learned to be harder. But in all of that loss I've taken, the most hurt for a person like me, for a person with a personality and a heart like me has been the hurt from a man, has been the disappointment and the rejection from a man in a relationship, or in something, whatever it was, a situationship, whatever. The biggest hurt that I've experienced, that the stuff that made me feel like, oh my God, I want to die. You know what I mean? I remember leaving, or I remember my marriage ending, and everybody else's life just moving on, and I didn't think I was going to make it. You know what I mean? And people be like, well, it's just a man. And a lot of people got a lot of opinions about that man. To be like, why in the world you feel this way about that man? You know what I'm saying? Why in the world would that make you want to die? But I'm going to tell you, it made me want to die. You know? And only somebody who needs to fix them, only somebody who's struggling mentally with themselves, only that type of person will be that affected by the loss of a person who's still here on earth, you know. And so this book is me evaluating myself, reevaluating myself over again, and looking at, you've been through this, that, and the third, but you made it through. And in those times, you didn't think you were going to make it through. You know what I mean? And I'm so thankful to God. Like, God has really, if it was not for God, I do not know. I know that's a cliche saying, but God knows if it was not, you know, for my friends. And that's why I put in my dedication, at the beginning of my book, you will see, if it was not for me having a close circle, I had the same friends since I was in middle school, you know what I'm saying, some earlier than that. And when I tell you, they've been my rock. So to have people, for God to give me people that allowed me to be my crazy self, to go through them emotions where I'm like, girl, I don't want to live. Like, I don't want to go through this loss of this person or these people. I don't want to feel these type of ways no more. And these people, my friends, have always been honest with me. They've always been forthcoming with me. And I'm just so thankful for having them in my life. So this book, I talk about all of this to say, this book is me getting it out, right? Me getting it out. And I have so much more to get out. I just want you all to support me through that journey of getting it out and of sharing it. I don't want nobody to take it no type of way. If you have, you know, anyways, I hope that you all are reading, and I hope that you find something in it that you can relate to. And I hope this video you were able to hear me well, because I got on these little headphones I normally don't have on. My AirPods are dead, but I did want to get it off my chest, just to kind of give an explanation of why I wrote this book and what's the reason behind it. And I just simply say it's to get it out. It's kind of for my vindication. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of to just make things clear. So I ask that you support it. This is my book. Like I said, it's not long. It's pretty short. But this is my book. All of Us, and it's part 1 of the Love Journey series. And like I said, I will take you through a journey of my life if you will give me the opportunity, and you will just take the time to read it and go write a review, all of that good stuff. Thank y'all for watching this video. If you watched it all the way to the end, I didn't mean for it to be this long, but thank you. Bye.